Hello friend, my name is Asindra and today I'm going to continue playing for you Autumn's Journey by Apple Cider. Now last time Aura Lee got kind of into the Knights Guild. She got like her provisional license or something. No, like she's a knight in training, I think is what they said. So now we're moving on to chapter 6 or 7, maybe 5. I'm not sure, I don't remember. Chapter 6, Knight in Training. Now this is a real cave. Droplets of water echoed in the puddles as we walked carefully through the cavern. Kerr led the way happily. Are you sure? It looks like the last one we were in. Are you kidding? There's more tunnels. Its sediments are mostly limestone and the roof is higher. Leave it to an earth dragon to know his surroundings. I like underwater caves. They make great layers. The numerous branching tunnels made me nervous, but my companions seemed unfazed by it all. I don't get it. It's like you know where you're going. Dragon intuition? Kerr groaned and Ilmari shot me a penitent look. We actually came here earlier thanks to a Heavenkind's help. So much for the promise to not wander off. I know, but Kerr was determined and I didn't want to let him out of my sight. However, Master Bedros wished for him to be accompanied by a Heavenkind at each altar to prove he's not going straight from one cave to another. And not just any Heavenkind, but the one that's been there with him the whole time. Wouldn't your word be good enough, Ilmari? You're overseeing the whole thing. No. It sounds like you have no influence here. Something like that. I arched my eyebrows dubiously, but before I could question further, Kerr announced we had arrived. There was a small carved statue of an earth dragon set on a block. Kerr gestured accusingly at it before turning to me. Pfft. Do they even try to make impressive ones? Think we would be pleased with this? A life-size one would be more worthy. Go humbly beg for his forgiveness. I gave him a gentle shove and stuck my tongue out. He glared, but his usual intensity had diminished somewhat. I planned to remain where I was, but I saw Ilmari retreat to give Kerr some space. Not staying? No. I don't want to feel like I'm eavesdropping on a private conversation. I reflected back on the argument at the first altar. It doesn't seem that personal to me, and you can only hear Kerr speak. That did not convince Ilmari, and he walked back until he vanished around the bend. Maybe Ilmari had a point. As I turned... Hey, where are you going? To give you some privacy? Did you forget already? You have to stay, you're Heavenkind. Right. I shifted my weight until I felt comfortable and watched as Kerr kneeled down, then closed his eyes to focus. Moments later, his ears perked up. Yes, she's here now, so picky. Yes, we left a Barry, and helped something called a carriage get to Oliver. We were attacked. Heavenkind fists are pretty useful. I covered my mouth as I smirked at the comment. From there, Kerr chronicled the sights and sounds of the plaza. Heavenkind like to pretend to do things they actually can't do for the sake of people clapping. They're driven to perform odd things, like eating fire. Is that even edible? He also mentioned the presence of the other dragonkind. He concluded his account and, after a few minutes, stood up. He placed one hand on his hip and he stared at the statue, deep in thought. When I was sure the conversation was over, I approached him and leaned in. Is everything... Yeah. Did he say how many altars to visit afterward? Thankfully, there's only a few left, and there's many around Oliver. So I leave it in your hands to get me some interesting night quests. You can count on me. And I think I still owe you a visit to the marketplace. We can restock on some supplies. Loud. I forgot that this one has very loud compared to the other. Okay. We rejoined Ilmari and returned to the bustling market of central Oliver. What I thought would only take the morning ended up going straight to mid-afternoon, given how much we explored all the various shops and stalls. At the end, I was pretty much haggard. I slumped down on the bench between my companions, blankly gazing at the sky. It's like babysitting kids. Overgrown kids. Ilmari happily clutched a small glass-blown bubble. He held it up, and its transparent blue surface shimmered like waves in the sunlight. I still can't believe you bought me this. I've never had anything Heavenkind made before. How could I not? You were making that face. This one? His expression changed, assuming the epitome of sweetness and innocence that had crumbled my defenses before. Yes, that one. Maybe he wasn't so sweet and innocent if he was using that face to his advantage. Kerr nonchalantly stuffed his face with various desserts and pastries. I placed a hand over my forehead before sliding it down to my chin in aggravation. I said eat a few, not all of them. At least we found something he likes. I'd prefer if it was something that wouldn't give him a sugar rush. Kerr pursed his lips but said nothing since he was still chewing. Now that we were all settled, I stood up and stretched, Argent Valère on my mind. I'm going to go check the guild and see if there's any postings I can accept for tomorrow. Get something to do with fighting. I'd prefer if it was a more peaceful one. I'll see what I can do. I doubt I can find one that pleases you both. I gave them a quick wave, intending to not take long as I headed for the guild. Inside the headquarters, I surveyed the giant board, hoping to find something that would catch my eye. Which one? Which mission should we do? See, there's a battle tournament. Are you the greatest warrior in the guild? Try and find out. Reward bragging rights. Avitero feathers. I play the lead for a ballet, and I simply must have some Avitero feathers to adorn my back. Swan costume. Reward 150 coins. Honey glazed apple tarts. I need 10 jars of honey from red bees' hives for a new recipe I've been developing. Reward free samples. Go fishing. Sapphire salmon are in season, however my back is sore and I'm unable to fish. Can you catch 3 for me? Reward is 75 coins. Save the chickens. My chickens have been disappearing lately. Please find out who is responsible. Reward a week's supply of eggs. Intense rescue mission. I need to find this important person now. Reward is 10 coins. Gather 5 nightshades. I need these completely harmless herbs for something not sinister. Reward 50 coins. Well, I think we should go for the chickens. I like chickens. Oh. The mission was a rather simple and boring one. All we had to do was mend some holes in the fence and the farmer overlooked. Oh, wait. Oh, okay, so it's Kerr saying it, sorry. This mission was a rather simple and boring one. All we had to do was mend some holes in the fence that the farmer overlooked. Ilmari was captivated by the chickens, though. He wouldn't stop following them, and they pestered the tiny yellow things even more. Aura warned him repeatedly, and Ilmari learned that if one annoyed the chickens long enough, they would gang up on you. It was nice to see his curiosity get him into trouble. Heavenkind sure keep a lot of animals for food and clothing products. Aura accidentally mentioned a sport called cow tipping, and I immediately tried it out. We didn't get our egg reward after that. Which mission shall we do? Okay, let's do something that will clearly be, in favor of, what's-his-face, Kerr. We're going to do the apple tarts. As soon as I read this post out loud, Kerr wouldn't have it any other way. Getting the honey from the aggressive bees was impossible until I mentioned that bees didn't like smoke and that it would drive them away. Ilmari thought conjuring fog would produce similar results, but Kerr found out it didn't. At all. Luckily, the baker felt so guilty, or scared, that he doubled the reward for Kerr. Ilmari and I secretly wanted to nibble on the tarts, but decided not to after all. Despite the stings, Kerr was satisfied and claimed it was the best thing he had ever tasted. So we just get to do different missions. Okay, so let's do the feathers. Since Ilmari banned any quests that involved fighting other Heavenkind, we decided to focus on wildlife. After that rather embarrassing encounter with an Avitero back when I couldn't even walk, I decided to get my revenge. It was so bizarre fighting an animal that could usually be crushed under my claws, and not immediately eating it either. Punching it out in midair was oddly satisfying, though, and even though Aura and Ilmari could only stand around and gawk or shake their heads. I didn't get the appeal of decorating yourself in feathers, though. Heavenkind culture makes no sense. Okay. Do we get to do more of them? Once again, I scanned the bulletin board, sighing longingly as I gazed at the job postings that only accepted true knights. I rubbed my badge, labeled KIT, Knight in Training, wishing it was the official one. Well, can't dwell on it now. I need to do a number of missions before they consider me. In the corner of the guild was a group of knights talking quietly amongst themselves. One of them looked at me before he averted his eyes. The girl beside him giggled. Kerr, who stood beside me, glared daggers at the group, gritting his teeth menacingly. What are you doing? Stop that. He balked and averted his gaze, but said nothing. His ears twitched. Stay focused. Ah, there's a patrol one. Are you up for a nice long walk outside the city? I guess. Or I could ask Omari. However, I think he wants to observe the glassblowers again. I'll go. Thanks. I handed the job posting to the receptionist, who detailed the route and gave me a small map. It's more of a training exercise than a real patrol, but it's something at least. I wonder what the people were saying about her. I rejoined, because I imagine that Kerr can hear them a lot better since they could hear the bandits, Kerr and Ilmari. They probably have a lot more sensitive hearing. I rejoined Kerr and we exited the bustling city of Oliver, entering the long, sprawling farmland that extended beyond it. There was a well-worn path, so the map was hardly needed. Kerr and I walked side by side, taking in the scenery. Almost all of the leaves were now a vivid fire of yellow, red, and orange. Can't believe it was summer when we left Barry. So much has happened, don't you think? When we first met, you barely talked to me. I'm glad it's different now. Or not. I took a wide step forward and turned around, causing him to halt. I stared at him dubiously. What is it? You sulk a lot, and now you're sulking while deep in thought. That's not like you. Out with it. What's on your mind? How do you handle it? Handle what? What people have been saying about you. Ah, well, I don't hear it directly a lot. You have better hearing than I do. They say you used your mother's name to get what you are. That you're nothing like her, and you'll never live up to expect... Thank you, Kerr. I really didn't need to be reminded. What makes you want to walk the same path she did anyway? Why do you want to become a knight so badly? Finally, the question both boys had avoided asking me directly. I inhaled deeply as I prepared my meaningful and profound answer. Well, you see, knights are so cool, and they have swords and shiny armor and stuff, and everyone looks up to them. They always do the honorable thing, right wrongs, and stop evil in its tracks, and they help people with their problems. They fight off all kinds of monsters, slay dragons, and... Wait, what? And rescue fair maidens and lads in distress, too. About the last part where... Fall in love with the knights, and the knights just sigh and go, I'm sorry, but my heart belongs to the path of justice and righteousness. Oh, Lady Knight, they cry, take my rose as a symbol of... I get it. See? I practically bounced on my heels, gazing up at Kerr elatedly. That's why I want to be one so bad. Aren't you doing most of that already? Well, besides slaying dragons and leaving behind a trail of broken hearts? I guess so, but I want the title too. I want it to be official, recognized by the Sun and Moon Council. What about you? Aren't there any dreams you're chasing? You seem like the free-spirited type. And that's because I am. He stretched his arms up and then sat back on the grass. At first I was going to chide him for taking a break during a patrol, but I decided a few minutes of rest was acceptable. I sat next to him. I'm not up for this knowledge keeper business. I hate it, but my master insists. Knowledge keeper? Really, you spent all this time with us and you still know nothing about dragonkind. Hey, you never tell me stuff, and Ilmari, well, you know Ilmari, always goes back to the heavenkind talk. Dragons have a long history, and we record everything orally. Everything we know is passed down to a dragon called a knowledge keeper who will specialize in something. Could be plants, animals, traditional stories, important events. He sighed in defeat and propped up an elbow, nestling his chin in his palm. It's boring. Tucking my knees up, I hugged them and leaned in to get a good look at his face. He peered back at me impassively. I don't have the concentration or focus to retain all that knowledge. When I was younger, I thought I'd be good at it, and my master picked me. Obviously not, though. I find it easier to stop caring at this point. If I don't care, they don't care. It doesn't seem to work on Master Bedros, though. Wonder what he even sees in me at this point. How do you do it, with all these expectations placed on you? Me? Not sure either. This is the first time I've considered my mom's name a burden more than a help. I guess I just accept it. I know I won't ever live up to her legacy, and people perceive that. I can't force someone to see me only for me. However, I have support from my family, the people of Barry, and, of course, you guys. They love me for who I am, and they're the ones that matter. So, Kerr, how do you view me? As Aurelie or a pale imitation of Lady Bayard? Shh! Why are you asking me? I don't know enough about your mom's legacy to compare you to. You're doing fine. I think you're a good knight on your own right. Heh, knight in training, but thanks. You'll never end up slaying a dragon, though. Oh? With how often you annoy me, I could easily cross that off my knight's accomplishment list. Please, even in this form I can take you on. Is that a challenge? He stood up and bared his teeth, widening his stance. Bring it. I sighed, wondering if it was a good idea, but I also got up. I wiped the grass off my skirt and touched my sword hilt. Oh, what's this? Relying on a weapon? I'm unarmed. This is hardly fair. You know I'm no good with hand-to-hand combat. His taunting smirk, though, caused me to toss my scabbard aside impetuously. This is a stupid idea, but sure. I bent my knees and clenched my fists, wondering how to start the fight. So, do we count to 3, or do we just wait for, Oh. Darn, you can't see his boots. I was hoping that his boots would match his belt, but apparently not. Or, not that it doesn't, it's that we can't see it. Okay. Before I could finish my sentence, Kerr rammed into me, tackling me to the ground. The wind was knocked out of me as he pinned my shoulders. I glowered at him. I win. Hey, I wasn't done talking. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath, trying to concentrate. What are you doing? I opened one eye. Something I should have done before. Feeling my strength increase, I effortlessly pushed him off. He gawked in surprise. Good job, Aurelie. I rolled over him, so I now straddled him with his arms held down. I smirked victoriously. Too easy. Ah! Another tussle, and he loomed over me again, his long hair grazing my cheek. If I was in my true form, you would have been crushed under my foot. Bah! I wrestled him, slamming him down so I was on top again. Even in your dragon form, if I had my sword, I would have skewered you 12 times. Please, it'd feel like splinters. Hey, splinters hurt a lot. Have you ever gotten... whoa. We rotated again, and this time he pinned my wrists. Unable to wriggle out of his grip, I sighed and rested my head on the grass as my little focus spells faded. If Kerr's body was that of a normal heavenkind, I would have stood a better chance. You win, only because I wasn't allowed my sword. Right, whatever makes you sleep soundly at night. His grasp on me loosened, but he did not budge. Instead, his eyes examined me intensely before lingering over my neck. He inched closer, and I panicked, shaking my head frantically. Wait, don't take a bite out of me. I already said you won. I struggled, and he hastily let go, rolling off of me. Phew. That was invading some serious personal space there. What did my mom tell me to do when men got that close to me? Knee 'em in the groin. Wait, I didn't have my sword on me, so her advice would have been useless. I rubbed my neck. Okay, Sin. What are you doing? I rubbed my neck self-consciously as I sat up, while Kerr angled his body away. After retrieving my scabbard, I noticed that Kerr paced around impatiently. I agree, we've rested enough. Let's finish this patrol and go home. Kerr? Yeah, sure. He rubbed his forehead as if contemplating something. I didn't comment, since I knew he would insist it was nothing and refuse to answer. Instead, I gave him a friendly slap on the shoulder to help him focus on the task ahead. Then let's go. You can tell your master that Heavenkind like long, pointless walks afterwards. He mustered a weak smile, but said nothing. Ah. We finished the patrol, and I reported it to the receptionist. Kerr remained taciturn the whole time, and barely said a word when we parted. I wonder if it was something I said, or maybe he finds patrols utterly boring. Do we get to choose more things? No? Okay. Chapter 7, The Bonds We Share. What should I tell him this time? The three of us were once again at one of the altars while Kerr mentally counted reports on his fingers. What about when I took you to the blacksmith? Seeing all those different types of weapons and armors was pretty neat. Or maybe how the Heavenkind keep written records. Ilmari cradled the book he held, which contained popular children's fairy tales. Ilmari, why do you keep carrying that around? You can't even read yet. I'm learning. How many more visits or trips do you need to make anyway, Kerr? You're getting close, right? Something like that. Almost there, just a few more trips. Your master sure is vague. I hope Master Bedros isn't just stringing Kerr along indefinitely. Kerr glowered as we instantly hushed up, but exchanged sly smiles while he turned his back. Wait here. Aura, you as well. Huh? But I was the guest of honor at all your little reports before, and you were getting better at them too. Although I wish you would stop hinting about how you would like to see a battle tournament in action. I'm not accepting those postings, and that's final. Kerr grumbled some more, but left anyway. I waited behind with Ilmari, who perused the book despite the low lighting in the cave. I unsheathed my sword and began some practice swings. My footsteps echoed softly through the tunnels as I readjusted my stance every so often. The blade sliced through the air, and I paused momentarily to look at Ilmari. Hey, Ilmari, do you think Kerr is hiding something? I think they're both hiding a lot of things, but... possibly. And you're not the least bit interested in knowing? He closed his book and sighed contemplatively. I'm sure he has his reasons. He's gruff, but he's a good person deep down, and straightforward. Does it bother you that much? I thumped my chest with a fist. Of course it does. A knight is honest and forthright, and I value those virtues. Ah yes, the virtues. You know, for someone highly interested in Heavenkind culture, you sure don't ask me much about knights. Well, although you're very passionate about the subject, I wouldn't want to bother you too much. I sheathed my sword, my eyes filled with determination. But it wouldn't be a bother at all. I would love to tell you everything there is to know. His ears perked up and he glanced down the tunnel. Ah, he's done. He should be here soon. Sure enough, Kerr re-emerged, proclaiming that the conversation with his master had ended on a high note. What did you tell him this time? About the time when you and Ilmari... What about me? You actually mentioned me? We both glanced at Ilmari in bafflement. He immediately piped down. Sorry, I didn't think Kerr would ever bring me up. Why wouldn't I? We've been together long enough and you're supervising me. Right. As we started to leave, Ilmari halted in his tracks and glanced back apprehensively to where the altar was located. Is it possible if you two go ahead without me? I wanted to examine the statue before, but I didn't want to interrupt Kerr. That's fine by me. Kerr? He gave a careless shrug, and Ilmari smiled gratefully. Thank you. I'll see you later. He vanished down the tunnel, and Kerr rubbed his chin in thought. Hey, Aura, do you think Ilmari isn't telling us something? What do you mean? Ilmari wouldn't hide things from us. You know how he is. I guess. I ushered Kerr toward the entrance and thrust some coins into his hand. I'll stay here. You go ahead and reward yourself with some apple tarts. That's enough for you to buy 5 of them. He jingled the money disappointedly. Just 5? There's more than plenty. You shouldn't indulge in your sugar-coated pastry so much, or you'll be the first dragon with a cavity. I gave him a gentle push, and he reluctantly stepped forward, briefly glancing over his shoulder before continuing to the entrance. I folded my arms and turned in the direction of the statue, wondering if I should confront Omari or overlook his behavior. Curiosity won over, and I tiptoed toward the rear of the cave once again. What's the point in trying to eavesdrop? They have better hearing than I do anyway. I heard Omari's faint voice as I continued down the tunnel. It sounded contrite. I felt a pang of worry as I was torn between quickening my pace and remaining furtive. I sidled against the cave wall until I could hear Ilmari more clearly. Sorry, Master Kaya. I'm so sorry. I leaned over, carefully eyeing Ilmari. I half expected him to be kneeling like Kerr usually did, but instead he stood straight back with a rigid back. He resembled a child being reprimanded for running off into the forbidden woods after a stern warning not to. He nodded solemnly, arms hanging limply by his sides. What? But it wasn't anything. I didn't think it'd be that serious. I'm merely an apprentice. I'd know if it was imprudent of me. Yes. Can I at least stay until Kerr returns? What? Then this whole time... I sensed the conversation reaching a conclusion and decided to slip out. As I crept away, my scabbard smacked against the rock wall. I uttered a curse before I could stop myself. Drat. Darn it. I slapped my forehead with an open palm. Ilmari must have heard that. There's no point in sneaking away now. Aurelie, are you there? I know you were listening in the whole time. I turned as Ilmari approached me, and I gave him a sheepish look. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. I heard you apologizing to your master. I'm assuming you did something? He shuffled nervously and rubbed his upper arm. Yeah, she wasn't impressed with me at all. When I said I was sent to watch over Kerr, I lied about that. So you never actually ordered to supervise Kerr? Right. I basically ran away and joined you. Now it makes sense why you were avoiding all those altar visits. But why would you need to... Because it's not fair. Ilmari's tempestuous outburst left me stunned, and his voice echoed throughout the tunnel. His hands trembled, and he clenched a fist so hard that his knuckles turned white. It seemed as if all the frustration and bitterness he had concealed were finally beginning to surface. Why did he get to go? No, he was forced. While I was willing. I studied the Heavenkind language, observed as much as I could, practiced the transformation spell, and yet he's the one who got sent. And Kerr doesn't care. He's not interested in Heavenkind or building a rapport with them. He quivered visibly. He probably felt ambivalent toward Kerr for quite some time, and yet had never expressed it. I couldn't bear to see him so upset. I stepped forward and embraced Ilmari, drawing him close. He shifted in the hug and rested his hands against my back, burying his face into my shoulder. I scrambled for something that could reassure him, but my mind was blank. It's okay. I'm sorry for that. It's not like me to begrudge someone. And I'm tired of feeling this way. When Master Kaya mentioned what happened between Kerr and Master Bedros, I was envious and decided to see for myself. After Kerr casually asked if I was sent, I instantly saw an opportunity, so I said yes. I'm sorry I never told you both. I guess I was worried that if you found out you wouldn't want me around anymore. I playfully ruffled his hair. Oh, please, like we would do that. Kerr might. I wouldn't let him. I could feel his shoulders shudder as he chuckled against me. Master Bedros is very open-minded about Heavenkind, but Master Kaya is too wary. I begged her multiple times to send me as a representative, but she kept saying I wasn't ready. My heart sunk since I could relate to that, constantly being told how one wasn't prepared. I reluctantly parted from Ilmari, but gave both of his shoulders a reassuring squeeze. Maybe she was concerned about you. I could be wrong, but... Maybe she thought that you weren't ready because you would get too emotionally invested or attached. I would not. He meekly quieted down, but then reflected on the comment. Maybe. I admit I tend to rely more on my feelings despite trying to be more sensible. I also get distracted a lot. And I'm too nosy for my own good. And if I'm trying to help build a relationship between Dragonkind and Heavenkind, I need to be more rational. I don't know how Kerr treats everything so objectively. Objectively or with indifference in general? We chuckled. So what happens now? Will you be ordered back or will you be allowed to stay? He sighed despondently and pressed his pointer fingers together. I'm allowed to stay until Kerr returns. However, when I get back, punishment will be severe. I didn't think it'd be that bad, but... Huh? Why? Why will they punish you? I'm a knowledge keeper in training. I don't even specialize in anything yet. I just have the basics. However, a future knowledge keeper running away is, well... Think of it as someone being responsible for all the books vanishing from the library and its single source of knowledge people have access to in the city. A lot of important things would be gone. Culture, art, literature. A knowledge keeper's responsibility is to inform other Dragonkind, therefore they stay enlightened and pass knowledge on to their kin. And to make sure the detrimental knowledge is only imparted wisely, since it could be used against others. My actions could be viewed as treachery. He forced a small smile to comfort me, but I could tell he was extremely nervous about the consequences. Don't worry about it, Orally. This was my decision. I have no regrets. Alright, but if there's anything I can do to help, please let me know. I'm sorry you felt like you couldn't tell us. I don't want you to be burdened with this all on your own. Thank you. Besides, I should start acting more rational. I've let my emotions get the better of me regarding it's nothing, Orly. Well, it's something, but I need to talk to Kerr first. Don't worry, I won't press you about it. I trust you, Omari. I flashed him a genuine smile, and his cheeks flushed modestly. And I'm sure Kerr trusts you too, even if he doesn't like admitting anything. It was then that we heard a loud sneeze followed by Kerr's gruff voice. What are you two still doing here? Kerr, I thought you were going to get apple tarts. I already did that and I'm still hungry. Gah, I hope I'm not coming down with something. He rubbed his nose, then urged us to follow him outside. Ilmari and I exchanged amused glances and I gave him a pat on the back. Good luck with the talk. Thank you. We'll see how it works out. I doubt he'll try to chase you away at this point. You two seem to get along now. So, we'll look forward to them having a talk next time. So thank you for watching. I love you. Bye-bye.